What if everything you thought you knew about living in Canada was quietly changing, and not in your favor? From hidden immigration crackdowns to a skyrocketing cost of living, and even threats to your digital freedom, 2025 is revealing a side of Canada most people never expected. Families are leaving. Jobs are disappearing. And laws are shifting, fast. If you think you're safe, think again. In this video, we uncover 10 shocking reasons why more people are choosing to leave Canada before 2026. You need to see this, because your future might depend on it. Number 10, better alternatives emerging elsewhere. While Canada still offers a relatively high standard of living, more countries than ever before are becoming strong competitors, offering lower taxes, affordable healthcare, cheaper housing, and faster immigration pathways. In 2025, nations like Portugal, the UAE, Costa Rica, and Thailand have introduced policies specifically designed to attract skilled workers, retirees, and remote professionals from high-cost countries like Canada. These countries offer residency by investment, digital nomad visas, and low-cost living without sacrificing safety, infrastructure, or lifestyle. The shift isn't just theoretical, it's already happening. Statistics show that thousands of Canadians are relocating annually, citing reasons like financial relief, job flexibility, and personal freedom. For example, Portugal offers a vibrant European lifestyle with affordable housing, world-class healthcare, and 10-year tax incentives for new residents. In the UAE, there's zero income tax, luxury amenities, and booming opportunities for entrepreneurs. Meanwhile, countries like Costa Rica and Thailand provide tropical climates, strong expat communities, and a dramatically lower cost of living, making them ideal for families, digital workers, and retirees alike. The world is changing fast, and global mobility is more accessible than ever. You no longer have to settle for high taxes, long wait lists, or shrinking opportunities. With careful planning, you can relocate to a place where your income stretches further, your family feels supported, and your future is not defined by policies beyond your control. It's not about giving up on Canada, it's about exploring where you can truly thrive. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or just curious about what else is out there, now is the time to research your options. The global landscape is evolving, and so are the choices available to you. Many Canadians are no longer asking, "Can I leave?" but instead, "Why haven't I left already?" Because sometimes the best decision isn't just about leaving somewhere, it's about starting somewhere better. Number 9, erosion of free speech and digital privacy. In 2025, Canada introduced a series of digital regulation laws that experts say are beginning to threaten free speech and personal privacy online. While these measures are framed as efforts to combat misinformation and online harm, critics argue they open the door to government overreach, content censorship, and mass surveillance. Platforms are now legally obligated to monitor, flag, and remove content that may violate vaguely defined standards, even if it's simply political opinion or social commentary. Content creators, independent journalists, and everyday citizens are starting to feel the pressure, fearing penalties for sharing views that may go against official narratives. One of the most controversial changes is the mandatory digital ID initiative, which ties personal identity to online activity. While intended to prevent cybercrime, it also means every click, comment, or post can be tracked and traced back to you. Privacy experts warn that such policies can easily be abused, especially if oversight is weak or politically motivated. Many Canadians now report feeling like they're being watched online, not just by platforms, but by state systems designed to log and analyze user behavior. The once open and anonymous nature of the internet is fading fast in Canada, replaced by tighter controls and algorithmic gatekeeping. As the digital landscape becomes more restricted, people are exploring countries with stronger free speech protections and transparent privacy laws. Places like Iceland, Estonia, and Switzerland are becoming popular for digital nomads, content creators, and remote workers who want to operate without fear of being silenced. Freedom of expression and digital autonomy are not just abstract rights, they affect careers, businesses, and daily communication. If you're someone who values the ability to speak freely, create honestly, or simply browse the internet without surveillance, Canada's evolving digital climate may feel increasingly suffocating. For many, that's reason enough to leave, not just for more affordable living, but for a place where speech remains a right, not a risk. Number 8, Education Access Challenges. Canada's public education system, once considered a model of accessibility and quality, is now under incredible pressure. In 2025, rising student populations, severe teacher shortages, and funding gaps have left schools struggling to deliver even the basics. Class sizes are growing rapidly, in some districts exceeding 35 students per class, and essential support services like counseling, special education, and ESL programs are being cut back. Parents are watching their children fall behind, not because of a lack of effort, but because the system simply can't keep up. This growing problem isn't limited to public schools. Even post-secondary institutions are feeling the strain, with rising tuition fees, limited program availability, and reduced funding for international students. Many families who came to Canada hoping for top-quality education are now facing tough decisions: either pay for expensive private schooling or settle for an increasingly overburdened public system. In rural areas, the situation is even more dire, with some communities experiencing school closures, limited course offerings, and rotating substitute teachers due to staffing gaps. Students in these regions are being left behind academically, and the long-term effects could be devastating. For parents who prioritize education, these challenges are prompting them to look abroad. Countries like Finland, Singapore, and the Netherlands offer well-funded systems, small class sizes, and strong student outcomes, often at a lower overall cost. Education is not just a social service, it's the foundation for your child's future. If the local school system can't provide individual attention, academic rigor, and emotional support, then families must start asking hard questions. Should they stay in a country where their kids are falling through the cracks? Or explore options where education is prioritized, supported, and valued? In 2025, Canadian families are increasingly choosing the latter, relocating not for jobs or housing, but for the future of their children, and the quality of the classrooms shaping their minds. Number 7. Housing Market Bubble. Canada's housing market has become one of the most unstable and overvalued in the world. For years, experts warned of an unsustainable climb in home prices, and in 2025, those warnings are starting to come true. Home values in major cities have stagnated or begun to drop, while interest rates remain high, causing monthly mortgage payments to skyrocket. Families who bought homes at peak prices are now facing the terrifying reality of negative equity, where the value of their home is less than what they owe on it. This situation could spiral quickly if the market corrects sharply in 2026. Foreclosures are already on the rise, especially in cities like Calgary, Toronto, and Vancouver, where thousands are struggling to keep up with variable mortgage payments. According to financial analysts, over-leveraged homeowners are most at risk, particularly those who relied on two incomes to qualify for massive loans. With job insecurity and rising costs, many simply cannot keep up. Real estate agents are reporting a spike in listings, but far fewer buyers, which is placing downward pressure on property values. This creates a ripple effect that hits not just homeowners, but rental investors and small landlords, many of whom are now underwater. For people who dreamed of homeownership as a pathway to security, the current market is deeply unsettling. Countries like Spain, Costa Rica, and Malaysia are becoming attractive alternatives due to their affordable real estate, low property taxes, and stable housing policies. Canadians looking to protect their wealth, or simply avoid getting trapped in a declining market, are starting to see relocation as a smart financial move. If your home is no longer a safe investment, or if buying feels impossible due to current rates and inflated prices, it may be time to consider where your money can actually build equity and not just cover interest. The housing market isn't just cooling, it's showing signs of something far more serious, a potential crash that could reshape Canada's economic landscape for years to come. Number 6. Rising crime in urban centres. Canada's largest cities are facing a surge in crime rates that's leaving residents concerned for their safety like never before. In 2025, cities such as Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and Edmonton reported sharp increases in violent crimes, break-ins, and drug-related offenses. According to recent police data, violent crime rose by 17% nationwide, while property crime spiked over 24% in some urban districts. These aren't just statistics, they reflect a changing reality where public spaces feel less secure, and once peaceful neighborhoods are seeing more frequent incidents. Many experts attribute this rise in crime to a mix of economic inequality, lack of affordable housing, mental health crises, and underfunded community programs. Law enforcement agencies are stretched thin, with fewer officers per capita than needed to keep up with the growing population. In many cities, response times are slower, and certain nonviolent offenses often go uninvestigated. Residents are investing in private security systems, avoiding public transit at night, and relocating from inner cities to suburbs just to feel safe. Even schools and hospitals have reported increased security concerns, with incidents occurring inside institutions once considered off-limits to crime. This growing lack of public safety is prompting many families to reassess whether Canada is still the right place to raise children or retire peacefully. Countries like Japan, Switzerland, and the Czech Republic are gaining popularity for their low crime rates, strong community policing, and safe urban environments. While no country is entirely free from crime, the noticeable decline in everyday safety across Canadian cities is driving people to explore options where peace of mind comes standard. If you find yourself constantly worried about your surroundings, it might be more than just paranoia. It could be time to consider a place where walking home at night doesn't come with fear. Safety is not a luxury, it's a basic expectation, and in 2025, it's an expectation many feel Canada is no longer meeting. Number 5, Employment Instability. Canada's job market in 2025 is facing a wave of unpredictable layoffs, contract terminations, and reduced hours, especially in sectors that were once considered stable. Industries like technology, retail, education, and healthcare are reporting downsizing and hiring freezes, leaving many Canadians in a state of economic uncertainty. Recent government reports show that over 180,000 jobs were lost between Q1 and Q3 of 2025 alone, with temporary foreign workers and new graduates hit the hardest. Employers are reducing costs, automating roles, and outsourcing more than ever before, creating an environment where job security is no longer guaranteed. For those on temporary work permits, the stakes are even higher. If a job is lost, the clock starts ticking on legal residency. Immigration rules do not offer much flexibility for those in between jobs, which puts thousands of skilled workers at risk of losing status and being asked to leave the country. Even Canadian citizens are feeling the pressure, with stagnant wages, rising living costs, and fewer opportunities to advance careers. The reality is harsh. Talented professionals are working multiple part-time jobs just to cover the basics. Meanwhile, some employers are offering unpaid internships or short-term contracts in place of stable positions. As global work opportunities expand, many professionals are now eyeing countries that provide better job security, remote work options, and higher salary-to-cost-of-living ratios. Countries like Ireland, New Zealand, and the Netherlands are attracting Canadians with open skill-based visas and growing sectors. If you're constantly stressed about your job, or if you're on a permit that ties your entire future to a single employer, now might be the time to evaluate your options. Employment instability isn't just a financial problem, it affects your health, your family, and your ability to plan for the future. More people are realizing that Canada may no longer offer the professional reliability it once promised, and are choosing to build careers in places that reward skill with true opportunity. Number 4. Declining healthcare access. Canada's once-admired universal healthcare system is now showing serious signs of collapse. In 2025, wait times for essential medical services reached record highs, with some patients waiting over 12 months for non-emergency surgeries. Even access to basic family doctors has become a luxury, with many clinics turning away new patients due to staff shortages and funding cuts. Emergency rooms across provinces are overcrowded, and mental health services remain underfunded and difficult to access. What used to be a system of pride is now viewed by many as understaffed, overburdened, and unreliable. The situation is especially challenging for families with children, seniors, and those with chronic illnesses. Many Canadians are being forced to pay out of pocket for private healthcare options, travel out of province for timely treatment, or join long waiting lists just to get a diagnosis. In rural areas, some communities have no access to regular medical care at all, relying instead on rotating or temporary staff that may only visit once a month. According to a 2025 national survey, over 40% of Canadians now say they are concerned about getting timely care when they need it most. With healthcare access no longer guaranteed, many are beginning to look abroad for countries with better healthcare infrastructure, faster service, and affordable private options. Nations like Germany, Singapore, and even parts of South America are emerging as attractive alternatives for those who prioritize medical security. If you or your family require ongoing care, staying in Canada could mean risking long delays, rising personal costs, and critical gaps in treatment. It's no longer just about having a health card, it's about whether that card still gives you the care you were promised. As the system continues to stretch beyond its limits, some Canadians are deciding that protecting their health means relocating to countries where healthcare actually works, not just on paper, but in practice. Number 3. Stricter taxation laws. Canada's 2025 federal budget introduced a wave of new taxation policies that are hitting middle-class families, freelancers, and small business owners the hardest. The introduction of new tax brackets, combined with reduced deductions and fewer business credits, means many Canadians are now paying more tax than ever before. For the average salaried worker, this means smaller paychecks and higher year-end tax bills. For entrepreneurs and self-employed individuals, the impact is even more severe, with profit margins shrinking and administrative requirements increasing. Accountants across the country are reporting that clients are shocked by how much more they owe in 2025 compared to previous years. The government has framed these changes as a way to rebalance wealth, but critics argue it's becoming a form of silent punishment for productivity. Those who generate extra income through side businesses, freelance gigs, or digital platforms are being hit with aggressive audits and increased scrutiny. Even rental income and crypto assets are now being tracked more tightly. While the wealthy often find ways around these systems, it's the middle earners who feel the greatest pressure. Meanwhile, public services like healthcare, education, and transit have seen little improvement, leaving many questioning what their taxes are truly funding. As more Canadians begin to explore their options, countries with lower or flat tax rates, such as the UAE, Portugal, or even parts of Eastern Europe, are gaining attention. These places offer favorable tax regimes, reduced bureaucracy, and a more flexible lifestyle for entrepreneurs and remote workers. The dream of building a life in Canada is now being reassessed by thousands who no longer feel financially secure. If you're someone who's feeling the squeeze, working more but keeping less, you're not alone. It might be time to explore jurisdictions that reward, not penalize, economic effort. The tax landscape in Canada is shifting fast, and staying unaware could mean losing more of your income year after year with little to show in return. Number 2. Rising cost of living. It's no secret that life in Canada has become increasingly expensive, but 2025 has pushed many families to the brink. From groceries to rent to utilities, the cost of living is spiraling out of control, and it's not just in the major cities. Even smaller towns and suburban areas are seeing dramatic spikes in basic household expenses. Reports show that grocery prices have risen by over 12% in the past year alone, with essentials like milk, bread, and meat now considered luxury items for some low-income households. Combine that with rising fuel prices and skyrocketing utility bills, and you have a recipe for financial strain. Housing, in particular, has become a major crisis. Rent in cities like Vancouver and Toronto has hit record highs, with average one-bedroom units now exceeding $2,500 per month. But even outside urban centers, rent increases of 20 to 30% are being reported across provinces. Families are being forced to downsize, move in with relatives, or take on second jobs just to cover housing costs. At the same time, salaries and wages have barely increased, leaving many Canadians feeling like they're working harder just to fall behind. The middle class is shrinking, and economic pressure is driving people to seek more affordable lives elsewhere. The most troubling part? There's no sign of relief coming anytime soon. Government subsidies aren't keeping up, and inflation remains stubbornly high. Experts predict that unless drastic action is taken, 2026 could see even higher rates of homelessness and food insecurity. For newcomers or families on temporary visas, this level of economic instability can be devastating. If you're struggling to maintain your quality of life, it may be time to consider alternative countries where your income stretches further and basic needs don't come at a premium. Many are now looking at nations with lower inflation, cheaper housing, and better work-life balance. Staying in Canada is becoming less about opportunity, and more about financial survival. Number 1. Hidden immigration rule changes. Imagine spending years building a life in Canada, only to be forced out due to changes you were never directly told about. That's exactly what's unfolding for thousands of immigrants in 2025. While Canada has long been viewed as an open and welcoming country, new immigration policies are quietly changing the rules. These changes include stricter criteria for permanent residency, extended processing times, and more frequent application rejections, especially for those applying under temporary work or study permits. Even immigrants who have lived in Canada for years are now finding their status under review, with limited recourse. Many of these changes aren't being openly discussed by mainstream media, but are buried in policy documents and government reports. For instance, the 2025 IRCC updates introduced new language requirements, more complex paperwork, and narrower eligibility for family sponsorship. The impact? Families are being separated, students are being forced to leave after graduation, and workers on temporary permits are left in legal limbo. These hidden rules are being quietly enforced, creating confusion and fear within immigrant communities. Legal experts have warned that these shifts could affect millions by the time 2026 arrives, especially if further restrictions are introduced under upcoming provincial agreements. This is especially concerning for those who planned long-term futures in Canada. If your application is still pending, or if you're waiting on permanent status, it's critical to understand what's changed, and how it could affect you. Immigration consultants are urging individuals to review their legal status immediately, gather documentation, and consult with legal professionals before any surprise notices arrive. What was once considered a stable immigration pathway is now a maze of uncertainty. For many, the most logical next step is exploring other countries offering more transparent immigration processes, less red tape, and greater long-term stability. Staying unaware could mean risking your entire future in Canada. As we've seen, the image of Canada as a land of endless opportunity is being challenged by a rapidly changing reality. From rising crime rates and a crumbling healthcare system to unseen policy changes and a housing market on the verge of collapse, life in Canada is becoming harder to navigate for millions of people, especially those trying to build a stable future. Add to that employment instability, growing tax burdens, and failing public education, and it's clear that many are now questioning if staying is truly the best option. The world is evolving, and so are the options available for families, workers, and retirees. Countries across Europe, Asia, and Latin America are actively creating pathways for people just like you, people who want to live freely, affordably, and with dignity. What used to be considered leaving everything behind is now being seen as a strategic move toward a better life. This video wasn't made to scare you, it was made to inform you, so you can start asking the right questions. Is Canada still aligned with your goals? Or are there better opportunities waiting elsewhere? Only you can decide what's right for you and your family, but now, at least, you have the information to make that choice wisely. If this video made you stop and think, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below, would you stay or leave Canada before 2026? We pour countless hours into research and editing to bring you videos like this. If you found it valuable, please support us by clicking subscribe. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. And if you haven't seen our last video, you're missing out. Tap here to watch it now.